misfortunes. And if you don't study your misfortunes, how can you get free? That's the thing I've been doing with the black and the Caucasian race in this country. You see how I'm talking like that, like I ain't even black? Because I'm kingdom. I don't deny my culture, but I'm kingdom. And that's why we have a multicultural congregation, because there ain't no racism in here. People from all nations. I don't know how you can serve the real Jesus and have any racism in your heart against a nation, against a culture. And one of the reasons why a lot of Caucasians follow my ministry through the years, because I was always bold enough to stand up to my own culture first and be against racism. Amen. I won't let blacks talk against Caucasians. I'll never do it. I don't care what happened in the past. It's not of God. Amen. But one of the things was, and I've dealt with my culture about things, but then I've been dealing with the Caucasian culture about this, helping them to embrace the black culture in areas that they don't understand. Because if you don't have mercy on our ills and misfortunes, how can you really understand? Right. And I had some of my Caucasian sons and daughters come to me, and they asked me years ago, they says, help us understand your culture. I thought it was so beautiful. And I began to speak to them about, just like I speak to my own what they're wrong about, then I speak to them about the iniquity in their culture. The iniquity in their culture is racism. They were taught by their parents, some of them, to be racist. And then some of them who were not taught like that, they just live in white world. You know what that means? You just like some live in black world. All they know is all black people because that's all they're around. When you live in white world all year round, you have no black friends. You don't have hardly no friends of another culture. All you know is your own culture because you stayed away from everybody. And you may not be racist, but you live in white world. You're oblivious. And that's still wrong. They started saying, you know, a lot of the people in our culture, we don't understand why blacks won't get their lesson, why they won't go to school, why they drop out so much, why their families are broken up. They says, we in the Caucasian culture, we keep a strong family or a unit. They said, we don't understand. These are some of the things that we look down on in the black culture. They said the murders, the violence, all of this. And this was the same time I was studying on mercy, because I used to be so hard on my own black culture for these things until the Lord rebuked me and had me crying and started to help me to realize and told me you are still wrong about your own culture. And this is how he explained it to me. And he says, you explain it to the Caucasian culture out of your heart so they can hear your heart. And he said, tell them to remember that they held you all in slavery for 400 years. He says, because they don't have a history, knowledge of the misfortunes and ills, not just that y'all went through, but what they took you through or what their ancestors took you through. But then there are some cultures, Caucasian culture, they'll say, you know, well, we went back there with them, we didn't do that. But you were still benefiting from the fathers and of everything they did. You were living off their benefit and their privilege. So that's still wrong. You still got to take responsibility. Am I making any sense? And the Lord said, ask them this question. How can they be so hard on you all that you have not gotten your lesson or you drop out of school when they kept you from reading and writing for over 400 years? They have a 400-year head start. You are 400 years behind. You see what I'm talking about? He says, how can they judge your family units for being weak when the slave masters went into your wives and had sex with them and had mixed babies? And the husbands of those black husbands got upset and couldn't handle that. Created an iniquity passed down from generation to generation. You see, I never looked at things like this, but when God started telling me, you must be merciful, that means you must consider the past. And I believe a lot of whites and Caucasians are not merciful to blacks because they will not consider what they did to them in the past. That is not right. Are y'all hearing me here? And I'm speaking this to the whole nation. I'm not just talking to Caucasians. I'm talking to blacks. I'm talking about Germans, to Jews. I'm talking about anybody who is racist or anybody who had part to do in anybody's misfortunes. Y'all heard how we had Andrew's brother, his son up here. And I was there in the Israel March this year, and I saw Germans, the children of German soldiers who was in the Holocaust camps killing Jews. I saw the very children of those soldiers on the stage telling the Jews, we are so sorry for what our foreparents did. We accept the responsibility in this day. I said, how beautiful is that? How beautiful would it be if Caucasians would say, we know what our foreparents did, and we are wrong for not having any mercy on the ills and misfortunes. Your misfortunes is because of what we did. You can't say, well, y'all was abolished from slavery and from segregation in 40. You should do something with that. So you're telling me 400 years of bondage equals 60 years. People do not get over things. Now, we're not talking about just people. We're talking about a whole nation of people now. And I said to one of them, I said, have you ever been hurt in your life? They said, yes. I said, what? A bad breakup in a relationship. I said, how long did it take you to get over that? It hurt you mentally. They said, about 8 years. I said, so think about if you've been wounded psychologically 400 years over a whole nation. What do that do? And this is one thing I've talked to Caucasian culture about. I said, don't be afraid to challenge it. Because a lot of them act like they don't want to talk about what really happened back then. They just want to cover it up and say, just get over it. You can't just tell people to get over stuff when there's still pain and hurt in them. And especially if you caused it, or if your ancestors caused it, or the kind of life you're living is because of the people who caused it have made you a privilege in this generation. All the people who know me know my heart. I'm not a racist, but I'm very truthful. Come on. With both cultures, my own culture and with the Caucasian culture. Because the whole point is we all gonna stand before Jesus, and guess what? He gonna tell you the same thing. So I just want to hear what Jesus got to say. And I want to prepare you to stand before him. Even my Caucasian sons and daughters and pastors, I want to prepare you to stand before him where you will be free and know that your heart is clear.